Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to a new edition of Batter Up, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. Mike and Dan with you. The old ops guy was feeling under the weather,
Mhm.
or so he says. We don't know. But Dan, my friend, how are you today?
Um, Good. Generally speaking, good. You know, NBA Finals is underway. Stanley Cup is underway. Oh, and this coming weekend, I got a long one, so I'm really
Oh,
pumped up, really pumped up by it. So good week, good week coming.
loved those long weekends,
Yeah,
especially when you were in school. Loved them.
yeah. We could use the rest.
And by the way, if you're a kid, summer's right around the corner.
Yeah,
End of school. Yeah. So,
yeah. I know people down here are already gone. They're already like
yeah.
they already had graduations and everything. So yeah, um, no,
Uh,
certainly a good time. But and on top of that, baseball. Baseball's really picking it up. We're really starting to see some separation with the good teams, the bad teams, and the just downright ugly.
and some of those categories, actually, all three of those categories define the New York Mets, especially after the way that game ended this afternoon. If
Yeah,
you
we
didn't
we
watch,
the London game. Oh my God.
oh, uh, we'll digress. I, listen, I gotta tell you, I think it's cool that they play the two games in London, but I kind of wish they do it either earlier in the season, like they did the Korea series,
Right.
or bring a couple of other teams and do some round robin stuff. I think that'd be a cool idea too, but who knows? But we really start this show with news that came out earlier this week, and it's going to lead into a whole big conversation. We have gambling issues in Major League Baseball.
Major.
Uh, Padres player Tucupita Marcano was placed on the permanently ineligible list on Tuesday for violating the league's sports betting rules and policies. Four other players received 1 year suspensions for other gambling related violations. They are A's right handed pitcher Michael Kelly, minor league pitcher Jay Groom of the Padres, Jose Rodriguez of the Phillies, and Andrew Saalfrank of the Diamondbacks. The five players were disciplined for unrelated violations of the league's gambling policy following investigations by MLB's Department of Investigations. Under Major League Rule 21, quote, any player, umpire, or club or league official or employee who shall bet any sum whatsoever upon any baseball game in connection with which the bettor has a duty to perform shall be declared permanently ineligible. The rule also states that betting on any baseball game, quote, in connection with which the bettor has no duty to perform, shall be declared ineligible for 1 year, close quote. Okay, let's break this down first, and then we'll dive into the whole other circumstance. Dan, every commercial when you watch a ball game is FanDuel, it's BetMGM, it's this or that. Forget Major League Baseball for a second, but does any sports league think that their players aren't gambling?
And that's the problem is that, it's not a matter of whether they gamble. They're certainly athletes nowadays are certainly betting on their own sport. That's just a given. And the investigations may not find it, but only the idiots get caught. But there are definitely more athletes out there, especially the prime athletes, that are definitely betting on their own sport and having some type of influence. That's definitely happening. It's just a matter of whether you get caught or not. And for a lot of players, they know how to hide their tracks. So there's a major if the sport is going to have an issue with it, then they need to have no gambling period while you're in season. Now, if you're not playing, so let's say you're not playing in the playoffs, but you want to bet on the playoffs, absolutely, sure, fine, whatever. But when you're in season, no betting on anything whatsoever. They need to stop this. They need to crack down on this because this is getting a little out of hand. And I know only 5 players got caught here, but it's starting to get out of hand. And look, don't be surprised there are more investigations later on. And
Oh,
people
they're
don't
going
hide
to
the
continue
facts.
to investigate, guys. There's no doubt about it. Here's the thing, though, and this is one thing, not just with Major League Baseball, but it's with all these leagues.
Yeah, man.
You are in bed with all of these gambling sites and things. And then on top of that, you're Major League Baseball. You have an issue with this. You want to put the Oakland A's in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like that's the cherry on top of this whole situation. Because
In
how are you going to trust that these guys late at night, they're not going to go to a casino and gamble?
and the bottom line is that in today's landscape of sports, betting happens.
Yep.
It happens everywhere. You mentioned how baseball has a sponsorship with a bunch of these gambling companies. Football,
Mhm.
has definitely has big sponsorships and stuff. You know, it does cause for concern. If this Vegas thing goes through as planned, that is certainly something that baseball has to address because casinos on that Las Vegas strip, that's
Man, that's
you
going
can't
to
ignore
entice
it.
someone.
You can't ignore it. It's there. It is there.
And you can't sit there and say, "Oh, we're going to ban you." Listen, the guy can call
In
an
Vegas,
Uber.
you make the decision to put in there.
Exactly. Well, the team bus won't go there. Doesn't matter. Guy can call for an Uber, taxi.
Fine, these are
Whatever.
$1 million ball players.
By the way,
Get out of here.
what's to stop a guy from sending a text to a well-known person in a casino? Say, "Hey, I've got $150,000. I want you to lay this out on this game." You're not going to stop them. You can't stop it. I mean, it's a weird sentiment, but the story goes on. This is from MLB.com. Betting data shows that from 2022 to 23, Marcano placed 387 baseball bets, including 231 MLB related bets, through a legal sports book. Marcano's MLB bets were generally parlays. Some include multiple MLB related legs. Others included both MLB related legs and non MLB related legs. Now it goes on. Marcano placed over this period of time 25 bets on the Pittsburgh Pirates while he was on the Pirates roster. Now, Marcano did not appear in any of those games on which he placed bets. However, as he was on the injured list after suffering a knee injury. So this dude was dumb enough to bet on the team he plays for,
Yeah.
despite not being able to play. By the way, if he's around the team, he could sit there to a team and say, "Hey, man, I put some money up against us. Try to make an error today, or don't look that great at the plate today." Like, the stupidity of this is just unreal.
But my question is, what is he thinking? Like,
He's not.
is he a literal dumbass? Yeah, I hate to put it this way, Virkin, but like, some people are just straight up dumb. Like,
Mhm.
like we talk about integrity of the sport, man. Like, you're not gonna go up and tell your teammates to make mistakes today. No, you want to win. He want to win right.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, the guy was not thinking. He's an idiot, and
He's also an idiot because he only won apparently 4% of his bets,
so yeah,
which
exactly.
not great.
No. So then you lose money on top of that, and you lose your baseball career. That's to
And
me
is it
smells
worth
like.
it? It's not worth it.
But you know what? It also smells to me like this guy does not care about baseball. If he's going out making bets, knowing for a fact that he is going to lose uh, a vast majority of his bets.
I mean, he was playing for the Pirates. He just wanted to walk the plank, I guess. I mean,
Like,
who knows?
exactly. So how serious was he about his baseball career that he just put bets on his own team? How
And of
serious?
course, we
Let's be
don't know if
honest.
this was to win or to lose. I mean, I'm going to presume it's to win.
Oh, I would hope that he wanted his team to win. Imagine he wanted his team to lose.
Yo, what up, Pete Rose?
Oh
All right.
my God.
The Pirates issued this statement following the Major League Baseball's announcement. "Quote: We are extremely disappointed in Tucupita's actions and are fully supportive of MLB's ruling. The Pirates, along with Major League Baseball, the Players Association, and every club, work to ensure all involved within our game are aware of the rules and policies around gambling. While the thorough investigation revealed no evidence of any games being compromised, influenced, or manipulated in any way in this case, protecting the integrity of our game is paramount." Close quote. So there's the pirate statement. So we have one guy getting the ban, Marcano. Four other guys get suspended for a year. But I find this ironic, Dan, because it comes on the same day it was announced Ippei Mitsuhara, the former translator of Shohei Ohtani, got his plea deal. He faces up to 33 years in prison for bank and tax frauds. And then Major League Baseball said, yeah, Shohei Ohtani's innocent. He's the victim in all of this.
I still don't agree with that, but
I don't agree with that either. I don't. You could call us whatever you want.
no.
Two things on this. One, Shohei Ohtani's either the nicest person ever or he's very oblivious.
Yeah.
Because to miss the amount of money that Mitsuhara gambled and not notice it,
No.
it
How does he have
that's
access to it? And I don't want to hear, well, he doesn't know how to read English or speak English. No, no, no.
well. Here's the other part to that, and this is the part of the part that makes me want to ask this question: why all the deferred money in his contract? Why is he only making $2.1 million of a $700 million contract, and everything's backed off in deferred money? Why do you have to defer the money, Shohei? And I get it. You're going to make money in endorsements. You're in Los Angeles, but the deferred money thing still stinks to high heaven.
Yeah. So I don't believe it. But I mean, look, the guy rightfully so getting prison time and and all that
I
stuff.
still think he's a fall guy.
Yeah. No, I think so too. And you know,
Ryan Gosling stole his role in the movie Fall Guy.
exactly. And Shohei Ohtani, is gonna live out the rest of his life playing the game he loves unless another part of this scandal that he was a part of actually comes to light and it does show Shohei uh whatever, but they ain't going to baseball. Here's the thing. I think Rob Manfred knows. That's another part. Like I'm one of those that think, I think the baseball executives, they probably know Shohei's involved and they're going to do everything in their power to protect. And I know what you're thinking, Rick. If that's the case, Pete Rose, his ass better be available again to the fucking whole thing.
Well, and I agree with you, but on the Pete Rose part, but I don't disagree with you. I do think Rob Manfred's in on this because Rob Manfred knows that his money, his big money ticket item in all of sports is Shohei Ohtani. He can't lose that cash cow.
It's true.
He knows he can't lose that cash cow because if he loses Shohei Ohtani, baseball, and listen, we love baseball, but not everyone loves baseball.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani is a renaissance for baseball because nobody has ever seen a guy who can hit like Shohei Ohtani, can pitch like Shohei Ohtani, and do whatever everything Shohei Ohtani does. That being said, if Rob Manfred loses that cash cow and the face of Major League Baseball, where does baseball go from here?
Well, we have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and maybe Ellie De La Cruz, but I don't know if they're going to be on the same level as this phenom.
Right, exactly.
You know,
Like they had that moment probably about 10, 12 years ago when Trout and Harper first hit the scene and they were both awesome and everyone was going, who's going to be better between Trout and Harper? Now, Trout's been awesome when he's healthy. Harper, same thing, and he's elevated the Phillies. But outside of that, it's just like, yeah, you have Aaron Judge. Yeah, you've got Soto and you got Trout when he's healthy, Harper, but they're not, excuse me, they're not what Shohei Ohtani is.
yeah.
And they don't pack the same punch. And I think for I guess that the part I'm saying is, especially with Soto, because if Soto's going to stay on the East Coast as a free when he hits free agency, the West Coast now, your biggest star is Mike Trout. He can't stay healthy at this for some reason. Who's the face of baseball on the West Coast? Fernando Tatis?
If he doesn't get in trouble again,
Right. So
we can't trust him.
yeah, Mookie Betts, great player. But again, it's just Shohei Ohtani brings. And I'll say this because the Dodgers are at Yankee Stadium and the Dodgers were at Citi Field a couple of weeks ago. It's a different vibe when Shohei Ohtani's there. The ballpark, Citi Field had no reason to be packed.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani's coming. Boom, it's packed.
Well, I mean, the Yankee Stadium infiltrated by Dodger fans, who I think are on the bandwagon for the Shohei.
I listen. You will
part,
not
part
hear
of
me
it,
argue
part of
that.
it is true because Dodger, New York,
Yeah.
there's generations definitely, but
I don't disagree with you. I think people jump on the Dodger bandwagon as well.
no, the bandwagoners. So yeah, it matters. It matters that he's in baseball,
Yeah.
and Rob Manfred's not going to get rid of that. Bottom line. So yeah, this translator is going to be the one that takes the fall, and again, he's complicit, so that's fine. He's going to go to prison, and that's fine. But to say that Joe had no involvement in it, I mean, I'm sorry. I just can't believe that. I can't believe that with my heart. I can't. And
Unless this happens, I still think he's guilty. But if MLB will release the findings of their investigation into what they actually did for public consumption, then I'll change my tune. But until that happens,
I'll change my tune because baseball said it. But I will still be kind of on the fence on it because
right.
I still won't trust it completely. But if they're saying it, then fine. But that's another thing. It's like what is it actually looking like? What's the investigation looking like?
How deep did you go?
Hmm?
I think these are fair questions. And here's the other part, because Rob Manfred, I know he'll do a press conference before the All-Star game or at the All-Star break. People are going to ask about this, and I want every reporter to ask a question about this. Will they release the findings? What did they find? Because until that point, I'm going to continue to make the Shohei Otani gambling jokes because I think there's something to this. It doesn't come off all willy nilly. And so you have to figure it out. All right. As we mentioned, the Dodgers are at Yankee Stadium. They're playing the Yankees. Third game of that series will be tonight. That's the Sunday night baseball game. The Dodgers have won the first two games, but the Yankees have been down Juan Soto, who left the game Thursday night
Yeah,
with
they're
what they
still
called inflammation in the
inflammation
forearm.
in the forearm. Yes, and at first it seemed like the Yankees were a bit nervous. So were the fans. I'll tell you that much.
Mhm.
But it seems like he's gonna be okay and avoid IL. But if I'm the Yankees, just so that he's 100%, I would still stash him for a little. Give him some rest. He's played pretty much every game, so give him that rest. Make sure that forearm's okay. Do a rehab stint in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, or at Somerset, whatever, and then come back to the Yankees better than ever, ready to go for a summer stretch. That's what I would do. The Yankees are not going to do that. They're going to evaluate and see where he's at, and he may be in the lineup tonight. He said that there's a chance he's available.
I watched the Friday night game. By the way, good job on MLB on allowing that game to be locally broadcasted, not just the Apple TV broadcasts.
Yes.
So, but I saw him at times grabbing a bat like he was looking that he could pinch hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, all right, is he actually going to hit? He wound up not hitting. But I think the question is because I don't disagree with your assessment. Like I'd want to be cautious in this spot too. I mean, like, okay, my goal at the end of the year is to win the World Series. And with my goal to win the World Series, I need a healthy Juan Soto.
Yeah. Juan Soto at the end of this season is not going to be 100% anyway.
Right. So if
as 100%, so as close to 100% as possible.
Right. So if he needs a 2-week IL stint in June, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Look, the Yankees have built a good enough record where if they fall off a little bit and the Baltimore Orioles catch up and they take first place for a little bit, okay, it is what it is. We know the Orioles are good anyway. So, and look, the Yankees don't need to be the best team in baseball, even though that would be more than awesome, and I would love that. But they just need to win. They just need to have the best players possible to win. And the Yankees have shown throughout this entire season so far that they are definitely a World Series contender. So,
and that's the thing they're going to be judged on. They're not going to be judged on if they win 104 ball games and
right.
They're judged on if they win the World Series. So to that point, if he needs the 2 weeks, argument's sake, the Yankees go to Kansas City. They play the Red Sox, and then they play the Orioles and Braves the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and look, without Soto, it's going to be tough. He's a major bat in the lineup.
But they're better than the Royals.
Yes.
And listen, the Royals are having a great year.
Phenomenal.
I'm not diminishing them. They're not the Yankees. They're better than the Red Sox. Sorry, Red Sox fans.
Like I feel comfortable. The bullpen's iffy. I feel comfortable with this starting pitching staff, with the hitting, with what we have on the field. Like I feel comfortable knowing that the Yankees could, again, they don't have to win all their games. They don't have to go on a massive winning streak. But I feel comfortable knowing that they can have a okay June and be okay for the playoffs. Still be on track.
Right, because you don't want this injury for Soto to flare up.
Yeah.
And if it does flare up and he gets hurt in a crucial time, August, September, I'm not saying it'd be season over for the Yankees, but it'd be a devastating blow.
Massive. Just if I'm the Yankees, just strongly consider it doesn't hurt.
Rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah. And of course, look, we got a glimpse of what it looked like without Soto in the lineup. And the Yankees lost both those games. I mean, look, the Dodgers are a good team. That's another thing we have to understand. We don't face the National League a lot.
No.
The Dodgers are a good team. Dodgers are a very good team. And we have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, the Dodgers are very good. And they match up pretty well because if you go back to the Friday night game, that was scoreless until the 11th inning.
Exactly.
And the Dodgers just get one more big hit than the Yankees do. Although I still found it funny when Stanton hit the ball. I think it was the 8th or the 9th. Everyone's getting up, and the ball doesn't even make it to the warning track. I'm just like, yeah, we're there.
Yeah.
But you're right. The Dodgers are good. The Phillies are really good. The Atlanta, despite their injuries, they're good. There are good teams in the National League. There's good teams in the American League. So, Dan, I guess my question to you is right now, who's the best team in baseball? I only asked this because I saw it trending the other day, so I figured I'd post it in here.
Well, the Phillies have the upper hand. They have the upper hand in pitching, they have the upper hand in the starting wise, definitely. And bullpen wise. And of course the hitting spectacular. Though the Yankees ERA, I mean, I know it went up this weekend, but still one of the lowest, if not the lowest in baseball. So in that case, fine. But I'm talking longevity of pitchers. I'm talking about big time gamers. I think the Phillies have the best of all those categories.
I thought we were going to have big time argument on this. I agree with you. I think the Phillies are the best team in baseball for this reason. I know the Yankee rotation is really good.
Yeah, they did done a terrific job.
And they're going to get Garrett Cole back. But the Philly, Zach Wheeler's been on another level. Thanks, Brodie Van Wagenen. Aaron Nola hasn't been this good since the Key and Peele sketch of Ron. And then Ranger Suarez has become the head park ranger. He's been awesome. The bullpen, which has been so bad for them for a few years, that's been great. Although Jose Alvarado was terrible today. Thanks, buddy. Mm-hmm. But then you go into this lineup, and there's no hole in this damn lineup.
Yeah.
Eventually they'll get Trey Turner back, but then you go, oh, yeah, Schwarber's going to hit an 800-foot bomb. Real Muto plays every day. Harper's healthy. Alec Boehm is playing at a high level. Bryson Stott. Castellanos is red hot. There's no easy outs in this damn lineup.
I think back to the way this Phillies team was built, and the Phillies for a long time now, I've been aching to get back and get their world championship back.
Mm.
Like they're on the cusp. It's a shame that this team has not won a World Series yet. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah.
But the way this lineup is built now, I think this is probably their best chance to win.
Well, yeah, because look at it. As good as the Braves are, they're going to be without their best player in Acuna. They're going to be without their best pitcher in Strider. So the biggest threat to the Phillies in the National League is the Dodgers, who, for one reason or another, find a way to choke in October.
Yeah.
So there's nothing stopping the Philadelphia Phillies from representing the National League in the World Series. Now, that doesn't mean they'll win it or they'll get there. But right now, June 9th, 2024, they have the best team in baseball. And by the way, if they're looking for another starting pitcher because Taijuan Walker is not a great number 5 for him, guess what? That's not going to cost you much at the trade deadline. Although the Yankees winding up with Garrett Cole, and that's a whole nother conversation. But you know, those three teams, the Yankees, the Phillies, and the Dodgers are all really good. The Orioles are really good too. Like, and then you get into teams that we could talk about possibly turning it around. Texas is going to get their rotation back at some point. The Astros have started to play better. We haven't even mentioned the Brewers and Guardians and how good they've been.
Yeah.
But
I mean, within reason.
no, but I'm not saying they're good enough to these teams because they're not going to go out there and do what these teams do. It's just what the Phillies have, man. It's just unbelievable.
I mean, I just would love to see how this summer goes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It's almost impossible that this is going to happen. But
Mm-hmm.
can you imagine the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Phillies not having injury flare-ups, and then we see this big time stretch run with all three teams?
Oh man.
Oh, that's going to be something,
Well,
dude. Because
don't want anybody getting hurt. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, look, it's going to happen. It's a long season. A lot of things can happen in a long season. People hurt their wrists. People hurt their legs.
Yeah.
People get migraines. Look, it happens.
Yeah. Well, that was the point. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. We were talking about the Yankees because he's a Yankee fan. And I said, well, you could pencil in Stanton's going to get hurt at some point because that's just how his body breaks down. You don't hope for, but the tendency is that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean him. I hate to call him out, but Bryce Harper too.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper will forever go on an injured list.
Well, and here's the other thing to that, and this is where the automatic universal DH plays a role. But when it's eaten by a spot, like Aaron Judge might need a day off from the field. Well, he can't DH because Stanton is your DH.
Yeah.
Harper might need a day. Could Schwarber play first base for a day? Maybe. Or the outfield.
He's a better outfielder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, let's see how it works. But you're right.
I'm just saying, look, can you imagine no big time injury flare ups though?
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Stretch run. That's gonna be something crazy that we haven't seen in baseball in a while. And I really hope that ends up being the case. Yeah. I really do hope because nothing would ever make me more excited than to see who the Yankees may or may not face in the World Series.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Those are good teams. Then there's the other side of the spectrum.
The
Chicago Whites.
No, the White Sox are the ugliest of the ugliest in baseball.
By the way, love the DirecTV commercial with the pigeons. They're naming teams with socks over us.
Oh my god!
I enjoy it. All right. Anyway, this goes back a couple of weeks, but the White Sox set a franchise record: 14 consecutive losses.
Can we call the hitting, the pitching, the managing police here and try to police
organization police
and try to manage this little awful situation on the South Side? I mean, you just when you think it can't get any worse, it's getting worse.
Well, it's funny because you're right. It gets worse. And then according to Jeff Passan of ESPN, the White Sox are willing to listen to a couple of cornerstone players, including center fielder Luis Robert Jr. and pitcher Garrett Crochet. I will say this. I wrote a piece on this. It's on the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. If the price for Luis Robert is right, the Mets should go get it. Go get him.
Well, any team that's a player away from at least the wild card should definitely look into Luis Robert. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Uh,
I use the Mets as my example only for this reason. I know the Mets have not played well this year. I think that's not an understatement, not an overstatement. But if the price is fair, that's a guy who could be in your cleanup spot or your three hitter for the next 4 or 5 years while he's under contract.
well, it's a spark too. I mean, they
Yeah.
need something. You know,
But you're right.
Lonzo.
And any team who has interest
Yeah,
or because he's not an old player. He's 25, 26 years old.
he's a baby. It's nothing.
Yeah. And he
Um,
signed at a reasonable rate.
just something. Sticking with the Mets standpoint, none of these players are giving you anything. Lonzo's not giving you anything, and he's on the trading block. Um, McNeil's not giving you anything.
He should be on the trade block.
Yeah, I know, right? Look,
That'd be the guy I would love to move.
Lindor's good, but it gets iffy. He's such a streaky player. I don't know. This is not the Lindor that I remember in Cleveland. The Lindor I remember in Cleveland always came through. This guy's streaky as hell with the Mets. I don't know why.
Because he wears a Met uniform. Realistically, once you put on the Met uniform, any form of consistency, unless it's awful consistency, you're not that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. You get that money, you're like, forget it. I'll play however I want.
But to me, if you're the White Sox and you're a team that's going to start over,
Yeah.
man, to get rid of a guy like Luis Robert is just
It's a smart move if you're going in that direction. It's gonna suck though.
yeah. You're going to make your fan base be
Just
suffer.
after they announced their new TV deal too, so it's like that blows. It really does blow, man.
Oh, White Sox fans, we're sorry.
Yeah, this is gonna be your summer until Bulls basketball comes back. I don't even know what the Bulls basketball team does.
I'm looking more forward to Blackhawks off-season talk.
I don't even know what the Blackhawks are gonna look like. Oh man.
Get ready for Bears preseason football, baby.
Yeah, maybe the Bears will cheer you up a little bit. Maybe. I mean,
All right. All right. Now let's get into some of the series over the next week that we'll go over. Two teams we mentioned before in that good team segment. We got the Braves going to Baltimore to play the Orioles.
yeah,
And
a great series.
should be a fun series. You got great players all over the place.
Now, of course, let's hope that Ozzy Albies doesn't get his bat stuck in the netting like he did in Washington.
The other thing is if you're the Orioles organizationally, and I've screamed this from the rooftops, the Orioles have this young nucleus. It's so reminiscent of what the Braves have.
Yeah.
The Orioles need to conduct their business like the Braves. Buy out the arbitration years, sign a lot of these guys to long-term deals to keep that core around, and eventually you can become the Atlanta Braves and win the American League East 2-3 years in a row, and eventually it ends with a World Series title.
Now, the thing with the Orioles is that I sense that they want to commit, but I think it's not going to be as simple as what the Braves did. They're probably going to pick and choose who they want to
right, but
which is not how I would go about it. That's not how I would go about it.
Well, the two guys at the top who you got to start with are Gunnar Henderson, Natalie Rutschman.
Yes,
you got to start there, and then we move on and you go from there. But those are your building blocks.
The thing that I'm most worried about with the Orioles, this is coming from a Yankee fan standpoint, now that Juan Soto is open to anything in the offseason, they can go after Juan Soto. And there's not going to be any shortage of money now that they have money.
Mm.
just
And
something to
you know what?
point
You
out.
could use some of
Like,
those prospects to beef up your rotation.
yeah,
It, it, it's an interesting
they,
situation they could find themselves in.
they can't go wrong though. Like, whichever
Right.
way they go to. Again, I would err on the side of you already have good players. Sign those good players. Keep your core for the next decade. And then, you're gonna have a winning um franchise over the next few years.
No, you're right. So it'll be interesting to see if they're one of those teams who get in on Soto, but who knows?
I mean, they'd be crazy if they're not. I mean, I'm just that. I mean,
No,
that will
you got to
rifle so
explore all
easy out of
options.
out of Camden Yards. Yeah,
Well,
they do have. They have a lot of options. A lot of good.
remember this years ago, they had the options of Chris Davis versus Manny Machado. They chose Chris Davis and it completely backfired.
Yeah.
So, all right. Speaking of the Yankees, you brought them up, so we'll go into the Yankee series. They're going to Kansas City this week to play the Royals.
It should be an easier series than the Dodgers. This Dodgers series was tough for the Yankees. Even though you mentioned it before, the Friday game was neck and neck until extra innings. Saturday's game was putrid. There's that's one of the worst Yankee losses I've seen in a while. Uh, Going to Kansas City though, I think because they're traveling, so it presents a problem with them traveling. But they're facing a Kansas City team that's young and not quite there yet. And I think the Yankees have done a very good job with against teams that
They're
aren't quite
better.
there, that they know that they're better than. So I think this will be a better series for them for sure. Pitching wise, I hope it's better. I hope the bats wake up too because they certainly need to. Is Seth Lugo pitching in that series? Do you know?
Seth Lugo pitches to Monday.
Monday. Okay.
Lugo versus Rodon Monday.
That's a matchup.
Tuesday will be Stroman versus Singer, and Wednesday will be as I get the ESPN app to load. Petit versus TBD. Love TBD. Great stuff.
So I guess the toughest matchup is probably going to be Seth Lugo. Mondays.
Yeah, and listen, you got Rodon pitching. He's been really good. So, but yeah, this Royals team, one thing about them, you said they're young, they love to run,
Yeah.
and Bobby Witt Jr. is a superstar.
It's really good, dude.
So the Yankees go to Kansas City to play the Royals. We've also got the Battle of Ohio. The Guardians go to Cincinnati to play the Reds, who entering today have won 7 in a row. They're
Reds.
trying to find their way back in the NL Central. And the Guardians just find ways to win.
They're an interesting team.
Right. They find ways. You don't expect them to score a ton of runs, but they play defense and they pitch their butts off, and they have a great bullpen, ending with Emmanuel Clase.
And let's give Ramirez his flowers. And
Oh, so good.
I say it every week, but we really have to start emphasizing it because I feel like he's not being disrespected, but he's not getting a lot of love as he should. And the team is good because of him. I want to just put it out there. The team is good because of him. And they're in this position because of him.
Yeah.
The
And
team rallies behind it's a domino effect.
and they draft and develop and they bring in other guys. Andres Jimenez has had a nice year. Stephen Kwan has come back from the IL. He's hitting over 300. Josh Naylor's having a great year hitting behind him. It's the pieces fit, and whatever motivation Terry Francona instilled in this club, it continues to get better and better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I,
And I mean, look, Tito did a phenomenal job
mhm.
his time in Cleveland. And look, he's no longer there, but at least the formula still there for
Yeah.
sure.
Uh yeah. And as we mentioned, the Reds have won 6 in a row entering
Good
today.
for Cincinnati. You know, look, I never thought Cincinnati was a bad team. I just didn't think they were a playoff team.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially when you talk to the NL Central, I think people want to, I don't want to say overhype the Reds after what they did last year, but there was never a clear cut favorite in the NL Central.
No.
So they were the trendy, popular pick. And with, as the great Uncle Ben says in Spider Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And they're very young, they're very talented, and they still have a chance to be a playoff team.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
I think it'd be a little too much though. That the Cubs are good, the Brewers are good, but the Reds, they can surprise you. They'll be a fun team to watch. That's how
oh, I don't think there's a more fun player to watch in baseball right now than Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah. I mean, the dude steals bases like nothing. He'll definitely go after the record.
Oh, he steals bases. He's played well defensively, doing it all. So, Battle of Ohio returns this week. Then we got the Blue Jays and the Brewers in Milwaukee, and I'll say this on Toronto. I've said it for a long time. I think they're the sleeping giant in the American League. Eventually, they'll get out of this. They're starting to remind me of, like, I don't know when they're going to turn it around. And these guys, they're one bad stretch away for me from either let's fire the manager or let's blow this thing up and see what happens, because I
What
don't understand it.
what sucks is my boy Mattingly's over there, and essentially has no say. Like I would wonder. And again, I'm not saying the Blue Jays may be trash. Okay, fine. Blue Jays may be trash. But with an experienced manager like Donnie Baseball in your corner, like when don't you owe it to a fan base that thought, you know what, maybe this Blue Jays team might actually compete for something for the first time in a long time?
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't you owe it to the fan base to be like, look, we got to try something. And right now, this isn't working. No
You owe
one's
it to an
hitting.
entire
Pitching's
country.
terrible. And you have a legendary baseball figure in your dugout. Let's see what happens. Let's just see. Okay, if it doesn't work, okay, you fire him and then you find something else next season.
And the other part is this: they have so much talent. We could talk about Vladdy and how talented, Bo Bichette and how talented.
Yeah.
George Springer's a winner with the Astros. And then you go into the rotation with Bassett and Gosman. Alek Manoah is going to miss the rest of the year after undergoing UCL surgery, which is a tough blow, but we didn't know we were getting out of Alek Manoah anyway. This team is too talented to be a last place team. They're too freaking talented.
They should be middle of the pack. They should be battling.
They should be a wild card team.
Like that's the reality of the situation. This team is better than what they've shown, and nothing's working though. So then you got to put some stones back in there.
Entering the season, but so we get games aren't played on paper. You just look roster for roster. The Orioles might be a little bit better, and the Yankees are better, but they should be better than Boston and Tampa Bay.
There's no reason.
There's no excuse.
You know, they got to try something.
You got to get somewhere if you're the Blue Jays. Otherwise, you're a failure.
And look, the signings were great. You have good players.
Make it work.
And if it doesn't work with
Are we
leadership,
blowing this thing
gotta,
up if it
gotta
doesn't work?
change leadership, change GM, change manager.
Got to figure it out if you're the Blue Jays.
Yeah, because
Other side, by
blowing
the
the team up is not an option. I'll tell you that much. That's not an option.
way, other side, the Brewers have every reason in the world to just say give it up. They're in first place in the NL Central. Christian Yelich, welcome back to the healthy club, my man.
Welcome back to being the slugger that he was years ago. Oh
And
my God.
Rhys Hoskins has had a great year.
What a signing that
What
was.
a great signing.
Can we give him credit for that? I mean,
Oh, such an
well, first things first,
underrated
he
signing.
finally found a footing with the team. Not that he didn't have anything with Philadelphia, because he did. He was a great player, Philly. But now he can be his own guy.
He's not in the shadow of anybody.
Exactly.
And then they have these young kids, Sal Frelick, Bryce Terang. They come in and do the job. Oh, by the way, Corbin Burns gets straight. Brandon Woodruff's not playing the rest of pitching this year. Oh, that's all right. Freddie Peralta's going to throw gas. Robert Gasser. All these guys are going to throw strikes and pitch their asses off. Give the Brewers a ton of credit for what they've done this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. They don't have that David Stearns running that front office.
I mean,
I want to. I need to point that out.
well, the other part is they don't have Craig Counsell as the manager either.
Another thing.
So I mean that it's worked out for them, and they've played really well. So give the Brewers a lot of credit. And then we got two more to talk about. We got the Astros going to San Francisco to play the Giants. The Giants have won a series in Texas. They've already won the first two, playing the third game now. Waiting for both these teams to kind of make the run. I don't know who you put more faith in. For me, it's Houston, just based on how they've been. The Giants, I mean, the Blake Snell signing just hasn't worked out. He's back on the injured list.
I mean, just in general, the Giants they're about what I expected, but at the same time, the production's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always expected the Giants to be sort of middle impact, maybe a little bit under, the in the standings.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't expect this. And I just have a really tough time understanding what San Francisco really wants out of this. They're about what I expected in terms of the talent that they have, but they're still not quite there yet. Like it's sort of a wishy-washy type of thing.
And with Houston, they just got news in their rotation. Christian Javier is going to miss the rest of the year. Jose Urquidy as well. They're both on.
I don't know how the Astros recover from that. No,
they need to go out in the market now.
If they were smart enough, they would have done it already.
Well, the problem is if you do it early, we just don't know who's out there, what's out there. So, and by the way, teams are going to drive a price up now on the Astros just because they know it's going to be a need.
I think the peak Houston Astro years are done. Like I think we've seen the last of this core. Not that the Astros can't come back with a new core. No, they can always come back with a new core. But I think, look, do I think the Astros still make the playoffs? Yeah, I do. I think they're good enough. They'll make a wild card, and I don't know how far they'll go, but they're definitely good enough to do that.
I'll say, go ahead, Fish.
We've seen the peak of them, and right now they're sort of feeling the effects of losing players and what it feels like when
to go on those long runs.
and a long time without all that stuff, and also new manager woes too. So
I'll say this: you're the core part is an interesting one because Altuve re-upped, so he's there for the next 5 years.
he'll be in the Astros for the rest of his.
He's an Astro for life.
Yeah,
Kyle Tucker, they're gonna have to get done. Then it comes down to what happens with Bregman, who's gotten hot recently, and where do they go there? Because you also have Alvarez pretty much locked up.
they can go the Correa route and not sign him.
Right. If Bregman leaves like Correa, Verlander, we know he's at the end of his career. So it's going to be an interesting future dilemma that the Astros are going to have. It really is.
Right.
So, all right. The last one we got is a potential World Series matchup. We thought it could have happened last year. It didn't. We got the Rangers and the Dodgers. And Corey Seager returns to LA.
That's okay.
I think that's the other part that people need to. Corey Seager returns to the scene of the crime.
By the way, I don't think any side is shedding tears.
No, they're not.
I don't think any side shedding tears. Corey Seager as a champion, and the Dodgers, they're loving what they got. So it's like, okay, whatever. I think the Dodgers are the better team here. Texas is still trying to find their footing. So we'll let them find their footing, and we'll let the Dodgers beat the Dodgers. But as we watch Texas, as we start seeing how they're going to get better and stuff, I think it's fair to start evaluating, the things that they can do throughout the series, the things that they can show, and see what strengths they have, some weaknesses they have, because this is a tough Dodgers team. This is a very tough Dodgers team.
I think the thing for Texas, we knew the rotation would struggle with all the injuries. You're waiting for the offense to kind of break out, and it's had its moments, but it's been a little bit too inconsistent. And I'll say this on the Dodgers. A lot of people talk about the lineup and how they're very top heavy. And you will be when you have a top four of Mookie, Shohei, Freddie Freeman, and now Teoscar Hernandez, who's having a great series against the Yankees. They need to start getting some production out of the bottom part of that lineup. And it can't be a wait until Max Muncy returns kind of deal. Just because you can't just pencil that in. Muncy was struggling before he got hurt. So they're going to need to find some balance. The Rangers need to find something in the rotation to get them going. Either way, Bruce Bochy's a Hall of Fame manager. He'll figure that thing out. There's so much pressure on the Dodgers just based on what they did. And by the way, if you're Texas, you're going to miss Tyler Glass now in the series because he pitches tonight for the Dodgers. So that's a huge win if you're Texas. So now you got to go on the road and try to take 2 or 3 from a really good Dodger team. But should be a fun series, a lot of fireworks. All right. Unless you got anything else, that'll do it.
No, stay tuned. I'm still trying to release this Bombers banter. It's been really tough for me. But Bombers banter will eventually be out there. Stay tuned. It'll be on this YouTube page. Me and Bill, we did it recapping May. It's a little outdated, but that's okay. We still want to show off how we were excited about May. So stay tuned for that. And more batter up coming up. Audio version, the midweek edition. I may be there, maybe not. I don't know. But Rifkin will be there for sure.
Yeah. Check out every podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check out this YouTube page. We got other content coming on it. Check out the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Follow us on the socials. We are on Twitter at SInsanityReal. We are also on Facebook. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Mike. This has been Batter Up on the Sports Insanity Network, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. We'll talk to y'all next week.